to my live. I know no one's currently on here, but if you're watching this in playback, then welcome. It's nice to have you here. I am going to be painting, not painting, I'm going to be using acrylic gel medium to essentially make these dolls have skin texture and like seal the paint in. So I am going to move you down so that you're just kind of going to get a view of this. Sorry about that, but so that you can see what I am doing. So I am using the Liquitex acrylic gel medium. I'm going to be using it all over the babies I have today. I will be using a brush and another brush to get all of the little bits off. You'll see as I go along, and then also some sponges to make the skin texture. So I am going to, what am I going to start with? I might start with this belly plate that I have. It wraps all the way around, and I'll get my skin texture stuff. Hi. So I'm going to be using this. I've just got it on my wires. That's not well done. I'm going to be using this medium. I am here as well. It's just I can't fit everything in. I'm going to be using this gel medium, popping it all over, which always looks quite alarming. And just covering my baby with it. I love doing belly plates. I think it's like they're just the most fun thing to paint. So obviously now I'm sealing in all the paintwork that I've done and adding skin texture. So I do put it on quite quickly, not quickly, quite thickly. I swear, as soon as I go on live, it's like I forget how to talk. English is my first language, and yet I can't speak it sometimes. So I am covering. So what I'm going to do now is grab a sponge. This is like a sponge that you would get at like a kid's craft store, like Hobbycraft or something, and they're very, very cheap. You can get packs of them. I think I got this one in a multi-pack on Amazon, but I just keep washing and reusing the same one. And essentially I'm just going over, and you can see the texture that I'm creating, because that is what skin looks like. I'll go over again, which will make like the bubbles a bit smaller, but I'm just kind of doing a quick pass. This does dry quite quickly as well, and then I've got like a bit in there that I don't want, so I'm just taking that out. And also I will take out of the grooves so it's not left with like build up in those those little areas. How do you spend oh, I'm trying to read the comment. How do you spend time creating content and art as well as a full-time job? I'm really fortunate that I work from home, so I spend a lot of time content creating like before work. So I usually work 9 to 5, but also get an hour for lunch. And most of my lunch breaks, I will be filming something, and then like weekends and things like that. I don't have a huge amount of other responsibilities at the moment. I am studying for another degree as well, so obviously that takes up time, but some of that I can do during work. Yeah, I don't have a lot of friends, so I don't spend a lot of time like going out and seeing people. That's the other thing. And because my husband also does like content creation, both of us like do that together quite a lot. As in, we just like, we know that that's what we're going to spend time doing. So like, I don't mind when he goes and edits for a few hours in the evening and vice versa. So yeah. So I am now gonna get, there we go, any build up out of that belly button. And then nipples don't really have that text, like the skin texture so much. So I'm kind of gonna go over the nipple area to make that slightly less textured. Again, I just try and make these like as realistic as physically possible. And while this does leave a bit of like a white cast at the moment on the skin tone, that will change. Like it won't stay white. It will dry clear. But I'm just keeping going over with this texture brush until I'm like happy and like I can feel that it's starting to dry, which isn't a bad thing. Yeah. Hello. Thank you. This one's a little bit harder because this is a whole wraparound belly, so you have to kind of put it down quite carefully. So I'm just gonna find somewhere to put that. Moving things. I have 2 desks, so I'm just, there we go. Now I'm just really hoping that doesn't fall over. I have another belly plate here, which is a little one. I don't know if I move my light, if there's any better lighting. So this is another belly plate I have that I've been working on. Obviously this is a like newborn baby skin tone. So I will basically do exactly what I just did, but on this belly as well. So making sure like the excess is off this brush, which I'm using to get a lot of the excess off. And then making sure that there aren't any like bits of lint or things that I'm going to get trapped in here. But this also does a little bit of mattifying as well, because this is a gel matte medium. I keep it in the fridge, by the way, this matte medium. And then, yeah. But if anyone has any questions about me, like, I don't know, being an artist or collecting these, happy to answer any. This is the first time I've painted an umbilical cord. I have to say I painted it before I then looked at photos of what one should look like. So it's not the most accurate, but for a first time, I'm not mad at it, you know? So this one's a little bit hard to hold. There's like nowhere to hold on to, which is a bit difficult. And then I've got little bits of this medium that have just dried over time, because I've had this for like nearly a year now. So, you know, it will gradually dry out. And then I don't think umbilical cords really have texture on them, so I will be going over with a different implement, probably a different sponge. But yeah, this is hard to hold. And as you can see, this is a genderless one. What's my favorite part of painting Reborns? My favorite part is adding the blushing in, because that's when I feel they really start to come to life. Before then they can look a bit lifeless, and you're kind of looking and you're thinking and like modeling and things, and you're thinking like, oh, this doesn't look very realistic. But then you add some blushing in and it's like, wow, that's a whole baby. I also do really love painting belly plates. I feel like they're so easy to make look realistic. So yeah, that's some of my favorite things. But I hope you guys are having a good Tuesday. It's a bank holiday weekend here in the UK, which has been really nice. I wish every week was like a 4-day working week. I have considered like trying to reduce my hours at work so that I can do more of this kind of thing. Don't know, because still need that income and I don't really get a huge amount from doing this, but this is fun. So that's the other belly plate I'm going to put down. They do dry quite quickly, and now I'm going to go in with a face. So this is the Jalen sculpt, and he is very cute and I am really proud of how he's come out. I will be rooting him with hair. And am I planning to make a Reborn painting tutorial series? Yes, I have started doing that. If you have a look at I like title them all like tutorial series. So I have started doing that, and I've got a particular baby that I'm painting via those tutorial videos. But yeah, between like work and everything else in life, it can be a bit difficult to fit everything in. But yeah, I'm like, my husband and I are thinking about moving soon. So at the moment we live in London, and we're thinking maybe we don't want to be here for that much longer. I'm glad you like his skin tone. This live is using his using my front camera, which doesn't really show off the skin tone very well, but the skin tone is really beautiful in this one, so I am very pleased with that. But hopefully his hair will be coming in soon, which is why I wanted to get this done today, because basically as soon as the hair comes in, I'm going to be really excited about trying to start rooting him. We will see. So I don't want build-up of this material in the ears, so I am just going in with my smaller brush and just making sure to remove all of that build-up. I'm doing this one in sections because he's quite a large head, and because this does dry so quickly, I don't want to like put it all over and then just be completely stuck. It can be really good actually when you have painted hair, and it means you can do it in like the direction that the painted hair goes, and then it gives it a bit of texture and like makes it 3D rather than just being flat painted hair, which I'll show you on the next one I'm going to be doing in a minute. But I don't really need to add this texture to the head with hair, but way to distribute as well the product. Can children play with the Reborns? Good question. It partially really depends on the child. Technically people are children when they are like 17 years old still. So like, would I trust a teenager with one? Probably. Young children, probably not, just because these are quite fragile. They lose paint quite quickly if you handle them a lot and can get paint rubs. They're also fairly fragile in that if you were to pick one up by like the arm or something, there is a possibility that arm is going to come off, and the arm, like contains glass beads, which obviously isn't then child safe. One, that's going to go everywhere if an arm comes off. The beads are probably going to go everywhere, and I know because it's happened to me. But also, obviously, there's a risk that a child could ingest them as well then, and especially because the glass beads are so small. It's like sand, and again, it's very easy just to get on fingers and then gets, fingers get put in mouth. But yeah, most of these dolls are like handmade by artists. So as an artist myself, I don't love the idea of like young kids playing with these, because then like it's just very likely that they'll get messed up. And ideally, I'd like my art to be like looked after as you would a painting or something. So now I'm going to do his face. And I've just got some of that on me. So yeah, now I'm going to do his face, which is always fun and a little bit intimidating. So going over the whole face. I do want it to be like decently thick around the cheeks, because they do tend to have a bit more texture on the cheeks. That's covered the whole thing, and then we can go in and refine. So yeah, I think kids can have reborns, but like under supervision, basically. Like I've got multiple children in my family, as in not mine, but like my cousins' kids and things, and like my goddaughter. And my goddaughter's like 8, but I still wouldn't trust her with a reborn, just because they also don't tend to understand the value. Like one of these dolls, they cost £400, £500, £600, £700, £800. Most of the ones that I paint, I now sell for £500 to £800. So if I then handed one of those to my goddaughter, although she is very good with her possessions and very good with her dolls, like she's not gonna understand the value, so won't treat it in the same way that I would hope that it would be treated. Yeah, and you kind of need to handle them as you would a real baby. And I don't know, I wouldn't hand a baby to my goddaughter when she's 8 years old. So this will all dry clear, so don't worry about the fact that it looks crazy on the face. And yes, it's very shiny at the moment. There will be a matte varnish that goes on top as well. So yeah, this does look a bit wild, but we just keep refining. So I don't really want that texture on like the eyebrows or the eyelids, so I'm going over with a sponge. Also the lip area and like just above the lip area, I don't want that texture on. So I still want to make sure that there is the gel medium there, but I don't want it to be like this textured. So refining with my paintbrush. And I'm really looking forward to how this one is going to come out. I've got like afro hair for this one, which I bought in black, and now I'm concerned that, because I had someone saying like, oh, it'd be look really nice with like a light brown, and now I'm like, oh damn, that would have been really nice. But I've had so many issues trying to get this hair. It still hasn't even arrived. But they sent it, and apparently it got lost in the post, so they've sent me another one. But they sent it a week ago and it still hasn't arrived, so getting slightly concerned that I've wasted my money, but we'll see. So yeah, at the moment it looks like he's got like a big white line across his forehead, which he won't have forever. But you can also see that, I don't know if you can see that, there's like a little piece of something that I want to make sure I get out. And then I will also show you doing the limbs, I think, as well. So yeah, he's looking pretty good at the moment. Obviously very shiny, that will go. And I just think this is a really beautiful sculpt. I was really happy when I found him. I will say this also does leave them slightly sticky, this one. You followed the same technique. Oh, I'm really glad. It worked out well for you. I am using Liquitex gel matte medium. You're worried about damaging your Reborn, would I recommend sleeping with it? I really wouldn't recommend sleeping with these, just because like the oils on your skin will make these shiny basically. So you can obviously rematte and things, but also with friction the paint will rub off over time. So that's why I just wouldn't recommend that. But I now can't see people's comments. They've disappeared. There we go. How many Reborns do I have? So I own, I think, around 15. I'm gonna do a limb now. I think I own about 15, and then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 on the go that I'm making at the moment that are they're all in different stages of creation. So I don't count them as my dolls, because you know I always sell the ones I make. I don't keep them, although I do have a couple of kits that I've bought that I'm thinking about keeping when I've made them. And I've got a new kit coming, which is like a sold out limited edition kit, which I'm very excited about and was incredibly expensive. And I'm scared to paint, so I might hold off for I don't know, a year, or until I feel like I'm good enough to make it, because it was very expensive for a blank kit, like ridiculous. But so over the whole leg, I'm just doing exactly the same thing as I just did. And I love how skin texture looks on the limbs, because I just feel like it makes a baby. And some people don't love this because you can feel the texture then under your fingers. One of the reasons another reason that I really like this medium is because it seals the paint in, and it feels a lot more durable. Like I can hold it and it's going to protect the paintwork underneath from anything that, I don't know, might rub up against it. So that's one of the reasons I love this one. And also with this technique, you can use it to like on the toes and things to basically make fingerprints, which is just great. So I'm still making sure like none of this stays in those creases. So just wiping it out. The creases on this baby are deep, so they do collect things. Yeah, this is just how you do it. How I do it. You can do it differently. Not everyone has to follow this technique. I have to say my following on YouTube has grown like exponentially in the last couple of weeks. I don't quite know what happened. Well, I do. I had a couple of videos do really well. Where do I buy the medium from? You might be able to find it on Amazon. That's usually my go-to place for like matte medium type things, or eBay, or even like a local hobby store might have them, like an art store. I'm going to do this hand. I am so proud of how this hand came out. I think it's gone really well. The Americana Ultra Matte Varnish makes the stickiness go away. Absolutely. So I use that varnish, that exact varnish. So yes, because this does make it a little bit sticky. As soon as you put varnish over the top, that goes away. So that's great, essentially. And I usually do like a couple of layers of varnish, just because when I first started painting, I used a different varnish, and I didn't like use a sealant or anything. And like someone had one of my dolls, and it literally got a paint rub within like 3 months. And to be fair, I don't think they were handling the doll as they should. And based on the condition it came to me in, I was a little bit shocked at the condition that it was in. But even so, like, I fixed it up for free, I sent it back, and by that time I had like worked out this process, so I then made sure to seal it really, really well, repainted the areas that had come off and sorted it out. But now, like, I make sure to really, really, really seal my dolls and make sure that the varnish is well on there, because I'm so paranoid about something like that happening. But sometimes I think it just happens as well. But like, you can have a doll, you know, painted with heat set paints, air dry, it doesn't matter. Like, if the more you handle it, the more likely it is that the paint will rub. You know, I've had dolls that I've barely handled, and yet there's paint rub. It's, yeah, the paint doesn't really love sticking to these vinyl. But, and these obviously were initially just collector's dolls, so not really designed for lots of touching and holding. Yeah. You like the way I explain things and my voice is comforting. That might be why I've gained subscribers. It might be. It has been lovely. I will say the YouTube community is so much nicer than TikTok or Instagram. Like, 99% of the comments I've had on here are just lovely. I've only had to delete probably like 10 comments, which is astonishing. I don't even have like comment filters in place, I don't think, for YouTube, whereas even comment filters were not cutting it on Instagram. I only lasted for, I don't know, I had one video go viral on Instagram. It's got like 7 or 8 million views, and I couldn't, I had to turn the comments off, and then I had to restrict comments to people that followed me or that I follow, because, oh my god, I don't know, I always thought people on Instagram were nice, but honestly, it was horrific abuse I was getting. So and like every comment was horrible. Like, it wasn't even like half of them were nice, it was just every single comment was horrible. And then I turned the comments back on for like an hour, and then immediately, like, the first comments, like the first 5 comments I received were horrible, and so I just turned it back off again, and I haven't turned it back on Instagram. So you can only comment on my posts if you follow me on there, because it's just, yeah. And it's a shame, because I really like using Instagram for like doing little updates and things, but it's just not worth it with the amount of like anger people have over there. And then, yeah, TikTok is just not great, like in terms of people commenting, and people's attention spans on there are so short as well, and you can only comment like really short things, so it's just not great. But the comments on YouTube are just wonderful. Is it air dry paint I'm using? Yeah, I use air dry paint. I use Waterborne paints. But at the moment I'm just sealing it with gel matte medium. What do I do in my free time off YouTube? I spend most of it playing video games. So sorry, I've just put a cable in the gel matte medium. I spend a lot of time playing video games. I've just bought myself a Steam Deck not too long ago. So I have been really enjoying that. Spending far too much money on Steam, but loving it. So there's that. I also have a pet snake, which is a pet corn snake, and spend quite a lot of time with her, him, we don't know the gender, it. Cleaned it out yesterday. It's a very sweet corn snake. She's now started to like come up to me and will crawl, like if I put my hand in, she'll crawl up my arm, which was really sweet. So yeah, have a snake, spend a lot of time with my husband, we play board games, and generally have fun. And obviously I also have a job, and then in a couple of weekends I'm going down to see my mum, and we're gonna go for like a spa weekend at a nice hotel and things, which I've bought for her birthday present. Right, we're on to the last leg. Yeah, mostly playing video games, let's be honest. I don't really have a social life outside of my husband. Neither of us are like people magnets, so we don't have many friends in the real world. But I do also do some filming for my husband's YouTube channel, so I am starring in his most recent video that he's currently editing. So he has a channel. He's Avery Rawson, if anyone wants to check him out. Shameless promotion for him, but he's so cute. I feel like I've missed questions. What kind of video games do you play? I play a lot of cozy games, to be honest. If it's like cozy or like an indie game, I've probably played it, like Stardew Valley, that kind of thing is usually my jam. But also Assassin's Creed, The Witcher 3, like open world RPGs, great fun. And then someone just said that their family were really hostile to them about their reborns. I will say at the start, my family were not supportive. Like my mum was nice on the surface. My dad flat out was like, this is really creepy. Like I'm really freaked out by these. I don't like them. I don't understand it. And even now, like I can't, like I've tried to take my dolls around him, and my mum was like, you can't be holding that in front of your dad. Like he's too freaked out by it. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. But I don't know. Yeah, I do feel sad that he's supportive of it, but only because it brings me an income, really. It's not like, oh, you know, anything that makes you happy. It's fine because you're earning off it. So part of me felt like, oh, I almost had to start making money from the dolls, because then it's like, oh, it's a self-sustaining hobby, like it pays for itself. But yeah, some people don't understand, and like that's fine. I've kind of lost friends that don't understand, or that have that basically have been not very nice about it. But I feel like if people are mean about it, it's just they're not very open-minded as people. So, and that's, yeah, my dad is not a very open-minded person. But my mum's like kind of got her head around it now, and she's come to me with me to like a doll show and things like that, and I think they're proud of my success, basically, regardless of the means I have used to achieve it. But I have now been on here for 30 minutes. Thank you for joining me today. What I will do is I will be doing the same thing to this little guy, but I think I'm going to film a video of it. So I will leave you guys there. I hope you have a lovely evening. You can see my face again now. I hope you had a lovely evening, and I will hopefully see you next time.